you get things going on. So I sent an invite, start another live chat, and then in case you get yours up, then I will shut this one down. But
No, I cancelled the other one. It doesn't matter.
okay,
Hey.
that's all right. Well, welcome everyone to Two Guys, Two Continents. Okay, I just finished dinner, so don't mind me. I have a mint in my mouth.
No, don't worry.
So how was the con?
I'm having a cider as well. Yeah, the con was okay. It's even though this one's actually specific to comics compared to the other ones we have, which are more kind of geared towards movies and games, and even so, it was still pretty quiet compared to the one I went to in the summer, where I guess one Stan Lee was there, which was a big draw, but secondly, there seemed to be more activity around the comic dealers, where that didn't seem to happen this time. We were quite. So I was working on one of the stands with one of my friends, and we were quite quiet compared to. I don't know why. Neil Adams was there, which is a big draw, and John Romita Jr. was there. So kind of the first Hobgoblin and all that was kind of selling well and all that kind of stuff. But Neil Adams was quite quiet. You could have easily walked 2 hours within the show, and you would have got your signature within about 5 minutes of waiting. The queues are very small. I think ultimately he was charging a lot.
He charged a lot. I mean, that's I think that has been one of the biggest gripe with Neil Adams, is that he does charge a lot. And that's my big gripe too. I mean, I love Neil, but at the same time, I don't agree. Okay, at the end of the day, he can charge whatever he wants, right?
Yeah.
Just like Stanley, right? $75, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. The bargain.
So when it comes down to it, I mean, but that's why. I mean, $20 is a lot. It's a lot, I mean, and Neil doesn't a lot.
£20 is about $35, and he was charging for. If you want to take a photo with your own phone, he was charging about $35 again and $40. So it was.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I took some footage. I literally walked up to the stand with my phone and just kind of got a good close up of him and the prints he was offering out and whatnot, and which I'll add to my next kind of haul video as I was telling you. So I picked up some books. One of my biggest purchase was a book that I actually sold to a dealer 3 years ago. It was my Avengers 4. So I managed to get my Avengers 4 back.
Oh, which dealer was it?
It was Scott's Collectibles. It's a guy's. Funnily enough, the reason I became friends with him was because I sold him a whole load of my books. Okay. So we started talking from that, and then he basically, what he does, he pays me in comic books. So if I come and help him out, he'll pay me in comics. So I got a great deal on it, and as I spoke to you, I'm kind of culling my entire DC collection. So yesterday I went armed with about 95% of my DC collection. Traded it all in, a lot of Neil Adams stuff, which obviously sold quite well straight away. And focusing on Marvel now, which I'm quite happy about. I've got some focus.
Well, it's good to have a focus. I mean, I think if in hindsight, that's what I did. I mean, I was a Marvel zombie, as people call it, and I dabble a little bit in DC, just a little bit. And if I didn't go out there and buy a few big collections over the past few years, I would not have that many DC at all.
That's the thing, yeah.
No,
I don't actually. I think I got kind of sucked in the hype, but I all the movies and things. I got sucked in and I thought, do you know what? Do I actually even read? A lot of the movie hype books I'd purchase, and then I don't even look at them. I just get, okay, cool, that's me worth something, and I just chuck it in a box. So I thought, that's not why I'm collecting. I'm collecting because I love the art form, I love the medium. Therefore, I only want to collect things I enjoy. And I love the newer stuff. I like Image. Some of the stuff Image puts out, and some of these random books, and like Evil Ernie. I like those independent books. But DC, I think, I don't know. I've fallen out of love with them. And
well, and what happened with you are very common. I mean, I think even I, am drawn into buying something because we see other people own it.
Yeah.
Okay? It's very, very human. I've been there, so I can tell you. Here's a funny story of. I love Iron Man, but if you ask me what's my least favorite Silver Age keys, it's Tale of Suspense 39.
Yeah.
To me, it's just a boring cover.
I think, yeah, the green, yeah, I don't know. It's quite iconic in a sense that with the three little panels, but yeah, it is boring. It's not.
Yeah,
So
compared to say, like even like Daredevil or Fantastic Four or Avengers, that's just my taste. Okay, so I can tell you, for the longest time, I never even considered owning Tale of Suspense 39. Okay, but when Iron Man movie came out,
yeah.
I trampled over other people to get a copy. and the funny thing is, within a year of that, I'm like, duh, you don't want to like that book. Gone.
Well, I mean, it's good. The fact, yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, no, that's
so
good.
I had to tell you that Tale of Suspense 39 is one of the latest mega Marvel key that I bought, and it was the first mega key that I got rid of.
Wow.
Because I'm just like, I never liked this book.
Yeah.
I understand that it's iconic, Iron Man first issue, but at the end of the day, for me, it was like, why do I own this book? I don't collect keys, I mean, sure, I have a lot of keys because I like a lot of books, but at the end of the day, I was never a first appearance key.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, well, I can get rid of it and buy something else. So that's what I did. But I remember selling that book and not missing it.
I'm sure you probably just if you enjoy the story, you just pick up a reprint or whatnot. There's plenty of reprints out there just to kind of enjoy the story. I mean, I thought, like I said, when I sold those books initially, I thought that was about 3 years ago, and I thought, okay, I'm just out of university. I think I can survive just reading reprints and stuff. But for me, like I think I told you before, there's nothing like opening a book, seeing so I missed them. So I thought, you know what, I will get my book back. And thankfully, he overpriced it, so nobody actually bought it for 3 years. So thankfully, I was able.
3 years, 3 years.
And that's before the Avengers movies. That's before majority of the Marvel Universe films came out, and he still didn't sell it. So I think he's I shouldn't say it as a friend, but he's quite expensive. So I think it works out quite well for me. That's probably why we didn't sell that many yesterday. But yeah, but stuff was selling stuff like First Appearance of Gambit. I think it's 266. That was one guy came because we had a few copies. One guy came and bought 3 copies from us. I think there's a lot of you could see patterns of what people were buying. I was watching what kind of because we had the board, so obviously the more valuable books were behind us. So I was looking at patterns, and again, we had a lot of DC keys. We had a lot of beautiful Golden Age DCs, Action Comics, Superman. I don't even think I sold any DC books. It was just the Marvel section was flying out.
Wow. What was the most expensive book that went off the rack?
Our most expensive book, I think it was an 8.0 Hulk 181, and that was £1,200.
That's about right.
Yeah, yes, just under $2,000, I think.
It's crazy. Even then, it's like crazy. I mean, regardless of how much money I spend on comic books, whenever I see a book that is over $1,000, it's still cringe-worthy, right? It's just
it's true. I mean, if I had the money, I would still do it, but I would still feel a bit guilty afterwards because at the end of the day, we love it, but we're still paying an obscene amount of money for that's somebody's wage potentially for a month, and we're buying that on a book. But I mean, it's the nature of the beast.
Was this con your first con working?
Second, I worked in July as well when Stan Lee came over as well. I was actually helping out with the witnessing for CGC in July. So I kept flicking between Stan Lee's booth and then coming back to the comic book stand.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good to it's weird to be on the other side. But I also before I carry on, so one thing I also noticed about things was if you can still get bargains at comic conventions. And yesterday I went in apprehensive because I went to the Comic Mart last week and I thought, you know what, they've already pulled out these 50 pence books and put them on the walls for $20 or £20, whatever it may be. But yesterday I found, for instance, I was digging through. I don't think they're professional dealers. I think these are people just it was like three women and their young kids. They bought a stand, funnily enough, and then they pulled out about 5 to 10 short boxes of stuff, and all it said was Silver Age, Bronze Age, £3 a book, and whatever. So I was flicking through. I found a nice high grade Spidey 301 for £3, and the guy, which is really good. I mean, a nice McFarlane, and then loads of Hulks. I'd say VF pluses, near minuses of Hulks within the early 200s, so 201, 202, 203. So I pulled out all of those. I took the first 10, 20 because I actually like those books, and usually you don't find it for that cheap. So there are still bargains to be had if you hunt. But
yeah, no, it's it's hard to find bargains at I mean, I went to the last convention I went to was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I literally walked in and walked out in about an hour and a half without buying one thing. And it's, first of all, I'm just too lazy to. I don't. When it's too crowded, I just can't stand waiting to get to the box. I mean, it just. I walk around, and then if I see an open spot, I jump in and dig around a little bit. But when a booth is so crowded, I'm just like, I'm not gonna be bothered.
No,
because it's like 2 people deep digging, and they could be there for half an hour.
That's the thing, and then you get these guys with their lists, and they pull the list out, and it becomes a bit like TJ Maxx, where you don't know what you're gonna find, and everyone's just.
Yeah, it's madness. I mean, if I go to a con now, it's more just to meet with friends. I mean, like if any one of my friends say, Nick, I'm going to Tampa Con next month, right? Yeah. Are you going? Most likely, I would say, no, I'm not going to go, but I would drive to Tampa. And if you want to meet up for lunch or dinner or something, we can do that.
Yeah.
But the whole going inside and all that stuff kind of. Oof.
Do you reckon, were you more active? Obviously, you probably accomplished a lot of your collecting goals, I would suspect, by now. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, too. If you watch my last video that I put up, the one with the Marvel stamp books.
Yeah.
If there is any con objective, is I have a list of like 60 books that have Marvel stamps that I need. If I was going to go to a con, I would go to a dealer that have a bunch of those Bronze Age books in cheap, in low grade. I don't care.
Just for the stamp.
Hulk
one is one of the ones with the stamps, isn't it?
Yeah. So so if there was any kind of like objective for me to go hunt at the con, it would be just to fulfill that value stamp book. And other than that, like I said, I definitely don't have all the books I wanted, but I'm also don't have the burning desire to buy a whole heck of a lot. So it's just one of those things where, like I said, if I go, it's just to hang out with friends. If you come to the U.S., I mean, I would gladly drive to hang out with you, but I would say, go ahead, you go inside. I'm gonna go to the coffee shop and hang out for 2 or 3 hours and sit on the iPad for a while, and then
probably have more fun.
Yeah. So when you're done in 2 or 3 hours and you want to come back out for lunch, we can meet up and go grab some lunch, and then you can go back in. But no, it's. Yeah. Like I said, I haven't went in 4 years, and I don't miss it. That was time when I love it. Like I think through high school and college and the first 5 years.
Yeah. So that's basically where I'm at now. I'm exactly probably where you. So yeah, I mean, when I went to the books, I was almost over. Cause when you have in mind, right? I want to get this, and this, and when you get all these books, my mind just goes blank, and I don't even know what I'm looking for. I'm just sometimes you're really overwhelmed. And like you said,
you're overwhelmed with choices.
And the thing is, and like you said, you've got all these guys around you, and that's making my head hurt even more, because then I really can't remember what I want, because I'm trying to beat these guys, because these guys are flicking through quick to. So you like, there's a lot of pressure at these cons as well. Because
it is. You know, now when you are helping out your friend, were you able to look at the dealer booth before they open to the crowd?
Yeah, I walked around. So Harley Yee came and set up. He hasn't come. He doesn't come to the UK. I think now he sent his assistant and his nephew now to work overseas cons. So they had some good stuff. The good thing about them was they were pricing everything in dollars. So they would just we'd make the most of the British price difference. So then I bought one book of them. I mean, they're fairly decently priced, just wide selection. You had all the guys. You had Heritage over. I'm quite surprised they pulled a lot of their Heritage auctions over. They had Comic Link. There, Vince Zazula. Is it Zazula? What was his name? Vince. From Metropolis. He was there.
Oh yeah, Metro. I'm sure Vincent was there.
Yeah, Vincent. Yeah, he was opposite. He was one of your friends. He was opposite. He was literally in the stand opposite us. So it was interesting just to go and see, because one of my friends who I was working with there, he's got a Walking Dead 1 and he's got a Walking Dead 2 signed by Kirkman, and he's just trying to see what the fair value is now. So it's interesting to see what that book's flatline now. Like Walking Dead, I think that's it. It's not going to go up anymore. So if anything, it's probably going to.
Yeah, I think Walking Dead 1 is, I think, top out at like $2,000.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and that's where it's at now. And I think I can't see many books getting that hot, as hot as Walking Dead got. I mean, Preacher was knocking on the door, but even Preacher, I don't think will hit those heights. I think.
Well, Preacher could if it become a successful multi-year TV run, right?
Yeah, I'm a bit angry because yesterday, as part of my DC cull, I sold my Preacher 1 at a very high grade Preacher 1, which I sold, but doesn't matter. Don't care. I'm in it for the money. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the love.
Hey, but if you can make some money, make some profit, and use that to buy something you want, then that's.
Yeah, and that's what I did. And all these books are just gonna. All the money I earn from the books are going to be reinvested more, but I'm going to be wise, and I'm not going to buy things for the sake of buying things. That's what I used to do, and that's how I ended up with this DC problem, because, like I said, I was buying books for no reason other than being a bit selfish, and, like I said, having a YouTube video open on one tab and having eBay open on the other tab, and then what they say, all right, let me go look for that on eBay and find the it's terrible. So now I actually close everything before I watch it.
No, it's, I think I'm just lucked out that I got to where I am now with my collecting cycle when the internet thing blows up. Yeah. Because, I remember back in 1999, 2000 when eBay blew up. Yeah. This is 15 years ago. That's crazy. I was going crazy. I'm telling you, if YouTube exists in 1999 or 2000, I would do haul video daily.
We're probably not talking about like small books. We're talking about really big hauls. I can imagine with you, judging by some of the stuff you told me.
I used to go to work, because I was in investment.
Yeah.
And so we have multiple screens, Yeah. So I have Bloomberg. I have, my investment screen and software, and then I have eBay. I'm doing stock trading at the same time bidding. I'm like double pumping. It was insane.
And you're right, and that's the crazy. Even now, it's terrible because the iPhones and everything have made things that much easier. Now I'm bidding on books, just random. I'm walking down the street and I'm buying books without even thinking. Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh my God! The crazy thing is, back in the old days, is that eBay was like the wild, wild west, right?
Yeah.
And I literally would spot a seller selling a few books, and I would. Back then, you're allowed to email.
Yeah.
I would email the person right away. Do you have more of the same type of books? And if the person will be like, yeah, I have a couple thousand. I plan to list in the next couple of weeks. I'd be like, forget eBay. Send me the list. You know, I mean, I bypass eBay left and right any chance I could. And back then, you know, it was more honest, no scammers.
That's the thing. I
You
was going
know,
to say,
and people was more trustworthy. You know, I mean, I bought a ton. I did more deals off eBay than on eBay. They may have initiated on eBay, but the moment that one deal went through successfully, I did all the other deal outside of eBay, because as soon as I did one deal and the package arrived safely, right away, me and the seller would be like, yeah, man, next time you want something, let's do it. I can save 5%. It's a win-win. We don't have to give eBay 10%, nothing. You know, so that's how we used to do it. We used to do that on every eBay seller. I approach that way. Like if I like the books you have, your price is fair, and your packaging is good, I'm doing a deal off eBay in the future.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's true. And I've done that a few times, but like I said, it's nothing like it was before, and now you've got to be really careful.
Yeah.
There's so many things that go wrong on eBay.
Yeah, and I would literally come home from work every day, and my mailbox would be with stacks of boxes. It was just, I bought so much. I bought thousands of books between late 1999 to 2003. Those 4 years, I bought probably 5,000 books off eBay.
It's crazy. So you mentioned before. So how many books? So what's your your criteria now? So are you keeping just purely Silver Age now, or how are you cutting off?
Okay. What I have now in my collection is I kept all the #1 issue I have.
Yeah.
Okay. So and by that I have from Copper. I still have my copy of X-Force 1.
Okay. Is that this one? I've just got one lying around here. This one. Just.
Yes, I have that, but it's out of the bag.
No, I just found it on my table. There you can see it. I've got these lying around as well. Yeah.
So I basically everything that I have and bought in the last many years that is like #1 issues, I kept. Everything that is first appearances, I kept. Okay, even Jubilee, even Gambit.
Yeah.
I kept all of those. And then as far as DC, I kept anything that's had Bernie Wrightson.
Yeah.
I kept everything that have Neil Adams.
Yeah.
I kept all my Joe Kubert stuff, whether it's Western or war comics.
Yeah.
So definitely it's from golden age to modern age. So my collection, even though it's only like 3,000 or something left, it's a wide range. And as far as Marvel, I definitely kept all of my X-Men. The only X-Men.
Was it the entire 400 odd issues? Was it? Or?
You mean X-Men?
Yeah. Or did you collect?
Well, I at one point I had almost a complete run of X-Men from 1 to
400 something, isn't it?
Like 300 something.
Yeah.
I stopped buying X-Men around 350, I think. But I had almost a full run from 1 to 350, and then a few years ago I gave practically everything from 250 to 350 to my nephew.
Yeah.
And then I sold my #1 to the dealer in England.
Oh, was it Incognito, was it, you said?
Silver Acre.
Oh, Silver Acre, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Silver Acre wanted and make me an offer I cannot refuse.
Was this through the CGC boards?
No. I actually was selling my Tale of Suspense 39 on eBay. So I list my Tale of Suspense 39 on eBay. Okay.
Yeah.
I had an 8.5. That was my copy.
Jeez.
And I got swamped with offers from all the big dealers like Vincent, Metro, Silver Acre, you name it. There was a whole bunch of dealers that was like 30 minutes after I listed, I got like bang, bang, bang. The offer was coming in fast and furious, right? And I ended up selling that book to Vincent.
Okay.
Metro. They was in such a hurry to have it, they FedExed me a box. Like, here's a box, put the books in, and FedEx it back to us now. We are not waiting around.
And I suppose that was really hot as well, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, this is like maybe a year after the movie came out. Like I said, I bought, I trampled a few people to get the book, and then by the time the movie came out, I'm just like, why the heck do I own this thing? I don't want to like this book. So, but Silver Acre, what else are you selling? What do you have in your collection? I'm like, what don't I have?
Yeah. Only you.
What don't I have? So they said, so they asked me for a list of what I have and what I'm willing to sell, and I'm like, well, I didn't plan to sell anything but the Tales of Suspense 39, but here's a list. And right off the bat, they're like, how much for that X-Men 1? I'm like, well, it's not for sale.
Was it a high grade one as well?
It's a 9.0.
You don't muck about. That's the problem with you. I don't think you don't have anything. But
I had 2 copies, an 8.5 and a 9.0.
Is that it? Oh.
you want my undercopy? But they wanted the 9.0. They sent a bunch of scan, and they gave me an offer. Let me say this: the price they paid for that 9.0 is near the all-time high of that book ever. I have not seen a 9.0 sell at that price since I sold that book many years ago.
Wow. Because I keep a tab on like Silver Acre and people. So this was back when you said this was 2000 and.
Oh gosh, I would say maybe 2010, 5 years ago.
Oh, okay, so it must be on the census somewhere. I wonder. So 9.0 has got to be one of the higher ones, no?
Yeah, well, the X-Men 1 have 2 copies in 9.8.
Oh.
There's 2 9.8, 3 9.6.
Wow. Okay, so it's fairly a lot of high.
Yeah, there are 20 or 30 copies better than my copy. Trust me, it's not the best. X-Men 1 is actually very, probably the most common high-grade Silver Age keys out there because of the white covers.
I was gonna say, yeah.
It's same thing. It's for some reason it aged very well compared to say Fantastic Four 1. Fantastic Four aged very poorly. It turned yellow. A lot of Fantastic Four 1 you see have bad marble chip.
Yeah, because I remember your video comparing actually the different whites you did a while ago.
Yeah, I still have a scan of my X-Men 1. If you ever want to see it, I can email to you later.
Yeah, with the others. Yeah.
It's a beauty. I have to say, it was a beautiful book. So I'm just glad that I sold it at like the peak.
True.
Because, like I said, I've been looking at that book because I thought about replacing it over the last 5 years, and for sure, I have seen many similar copies went for much less.
No.
So I'm kind of glad that I got out at a high price, and it's gone. So as far as X-Men, I got rid of my number 1. But as far as slabs, I still have most of my Silver Age X-Men left in slabs.
Yeah, the early one.
At one point, like I said, at one point I have from 1 to. I had almost a full run from 1 to 65.
Slabbed.
In slabs, and I sold my 1. I sold my 2 also. Now that I think about it, 1 and 2 is gone. Yeah. And I have 3 through 66, 65 or so, and then I have. And then I sold all my slabs from 94 onward.
Yeah, I see. So you sold 94 as well?
Yes. Selling the X-Men 94 was the catalyst that get me to sell the rest.
Wow.
I wanted to sell those X-Men Bronze for the longest time, but I didn't want to break up the set.
Yeah.
And the only one that I didn't have as far as raw copy was an X-Men 94. So last year when I was able to obtain a raw X-Men 94 to go along with all my raw Bronze X-Men, I'm like, okay, now that I have the book,
you can sell the slabs.
There's no need for the slabs anymore. So boom, that was it. The only slab I still keep as far as Bronze Age is my giant size X-Men one.
And let me guess, it's a 9.9 or something stupid like that.
It's 9.6.
I've got a raw beta here somewhere around here, and you've. At least I got it. But yeah, no. It's...
But the reason I kept that giant size X-Men is because sentimentally, it have big meaning to me because it's the very first slab I ever bought ever.
Ah.
So when I decided to jump into buying slabs, that was my very first book I bought 14 years ago.
Do you want to know my first slab that I bought? It's probably the most ridiculous. So this is when I probably blame YouTube for it. My first slab was the most stupid purchase anyone could. Literally the most stupid purchase. It was Dark Avengers issue 8. And guess what? It was a 9.6. So I bought a modern slab, a modern book. Oh.
And we all start out somewhere, you know. We all start out somewhere. You know, it's you know, like I said, you're just at the starting line of your collecting cycle.
Yeah.
So you know, it's a lot will happen in the next 25 years, you know, for sure. So.
That I'm sure. Yeah. So I mean, I learned from my mistake very quickly. That was when I was just buying stupid, like, you know, you don't realize, but then I learned more and more. Now I think I'm in a place where I actually understand the books and the hobby and everything. But yeah, like you said, you make so many mistakes to get to where you are. I've made so many.
I make a lot of mistakes. Sometimes I make, you know, but you know, I make a lot of mistakes, but I also don't have a lot of regrets.
No.
You know, sure, I regret buying a few restored books in here and there, but I was lucky enough that over the years I got so many great books at great prices and sold them at great profits. So net is a win, you know.
Yeah, net.
So I don't look at. To me, my advice to people is like, if you enjoy the hobby, if you can make a profit off the hobby, is great. But if you don't make money, it's still so much enjoyment out of it. You know what I mean? So even when I sold a book and lost money, I look at the money loss as the cost of enjoyment.
Well, that's it. You think about, and you're exactly right. And I think, all right, if I'd have gone out and gone for some few drinks with friends, I would have spent that amount anyway. The fact that I've done it on comics doesn't, you know, like you said, that's probably the best way of looking at it because we're enjoying it. So
yeah, you know, I used to justify spending money everywhere I could, you know, because you know I was never always wealthy, but you know even now, you know, I cut my own grass, right? And I told my wife, you know, we can hire someone to do that, but that would cost us $100 a month. For me not to cut my own grass, I'm just like, that's $100 to spend on eBay.
Yeah. And you'd be bored anyway. Working at home, usually get some fresh air rather than sitting in your chair all day. So
I know. So you know, like I said, you know, it's been a fun ride for me, and I just like to see the younger collector enjoying the hobby. So but that's the best thing about YouTube is, you know, regardless of how people collect, some people just, you know, collect chase keys or whatever, but it's very apparent about YouTube is that there's a lot of people that's very excited about the hobby, whether reading new modern books, or collecting back issues. So, you know, and I think that's why I like YouTube more than say the CGC forum.
Yeah.
There's something about the visual look
And
of someone.
hearing the emotion and kind of the excitement in the
Instead of like just a post, you know, I mean, like a person
Oh,
type a few sentences, and it's just not the same kind of emotional impact that I get from watching other people videos. So that's my most fun out of YouTube is seeing how people are excited about the books. And I live vicariously through other people. Like I said, I don't buy a lot anymore.
And that's because you don't buy a lot more, because that's because you own everything, Nick. Trying to make everyone feel sorry for you. Oh, I don't buy anything anymore. That's because you had everything.
I have everything. What do you want?
No, it's true. Like you said, it's almost, in a way, it's almost like a veteran kind of giving back and advice. A lot of people I know come to you for advice, and I'm sure you get loads of emails and messages asking. And that's pretty much how I think I started talking to you when I messaged you about something about Avengers a long time ago, and then I think you've become everyone's kind of guru.
I'm everyone's grandpa.
Young grandpa.
I'm old enough to be grandfather of kids. I'm like, it's funny because when I talk to college age kids, right? Well, college age collectors. Part of me is like, I'm probably older than your dad. It's frightening to think that younger people coming to me for advice, but I don't mind sharing any advice I have with people, because I have a saying for a long time that an informed collector is a happy collector.
Yeah, I mean,
if you inform,
yeah, I wish I'd spoken to you before I bought that Dark Avengers.
Because to me, if you inform, you likely not make mistakes.
Yeah.
And the less mistakes you make, the happier you will be with the hobby. It's the people that get scammed, get robbed, get scammed. Those people get upset with the hobby and quit.
Yeah.
But if you inform, know what you're doing, and don't get scammed, get robbed, don't get all that stuff, then you likely will not be unhappy.
And I think
you prove that you get burned. You don't want to get burned in this hobby. So. Oh, by the way, did you see Brooke at the convention?
I didn't. I didn't see him. He messaged me actually saying he's going to be there. Yeah, I don't think I bumped, and because I didn't work today's one, so I don't know if he went to both days. But yeah, I missed him unfortunately. But I don't know where. I think he lives in Bristol, so which is
he mentioned to me that he was going there Saturday with his younger cousin.
Oh, it's a shame. Yeah, I should have. Because I saw his message. I don't know if I replied. I feel bad. Yeah, I should have said hi to him. I don't know whereabouts he was, but by the
you're a busy man. You're a busy man.
Unfortunately, I was yesterday. My legs are still aching from yesterday, just standing up and running around.
Well, if you Brooke. Well, hopefully when things calm down, and hopefully you and Brooke and me can do a live chat, since you guys are in the same time zone.
He's a really cool guy. I think
he's a good man. He actually has relative in Orlando, Florida. So one of these days, if he ever come to visit the U.S., Brooke, if you're watching this video, if you come to the U.S. to Florida, you better let me know.
Yeah, he won't come. Nick won't come with you to the comic convention. He'll wait outside.
Exactly. In fact, MegaCon is in Orlando next month.
Oh.
I will not be going inside.
I'll be waiting outside.
I will be outside by the coffee shop. But so I exchanged a few emails with Brooks here and there, and for sure, if he ever come to the U.S., I'd be more than happy to show him around. He can stay at my house if he wants to. My offer go out to anyone, to come and visit. I have an extra spare bedroom.
There you go. Be careful, you might attract these really weird. These are.
And I will go to the UK sometime in the future.
There you go. Well then, I extend my place to you also.
Yeah. So I told Brooke that we likely will go in 2 years.
Okay.
Uh, in 2 years, I will be 50.
Oh,
And my birthday gift to myself and the family will be a trip to Europe.
good. Good.
And we will do Italy, France, and the UK.
Three good choices.
Yes, so my wife have been to the UK and France.
Have you not been?
So
Where have you been in Europe?
me,
Yeah. Have you not
I
been?
have been nowhere.
Oh, okay. That's wow. There you go. Then you got lots
I,
of.
I I can tell you, I have been Vietnam. Okay, I have been to Indonesia. I have been to Singapore.
It's just the Southeast Asia then.
Yeah, I'm with my people. I won't count Japan because I only stopped by Japan for a few hours on a layover flight, so that doesn't count. But outside of that, Mexico, Canada,
Yeah.
but that's it.
Mm.
So I'm a homebody. I'm one of those lazy guy that's just like I told my wife, I don't mind being somewhere, but I can't stand the traveling part.
No, it's a long old to UK from Florida. Actually, to be fair, I've been to America 3 or 4 times now. I've been to it's a long old journey. I've been to Vegas twice, and that was a long that was a long old journey. So it's a long couple of flights. So, but I've
So
never been
when
to
you've been to the U.S. a few times. So Vegas twice, and where else?
New York. I was actually lucky enough to go to the World Trade Center in 2000, actually, before it unfortunately
Oh,
happened. So I was really happy. I actually got to go. I was at the top and everything. I got photos. So really quite fortunate, actually.
yeah. Brooke also went to New York a few years ago, and he loved New York also.
It's
Yeah.
very good. I went when I was 12, so it'd be nice to go now and appreciate it for what it really is now. I mean, there's a lot of things to see.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to go to New York, and now that my son, he's 7, he's gonna be 8 next month.
Yeah.
So he's at the age now where traveling is a fun thing to do, and he can eat many different things, and
Chef for a father, he must get a lot of different culinary treats anyway. So
yeah. So it's good. So so that's why we always said that in 2 years when I'm 50, Anthony will be 10. We
yeah,
can definitely do 2 weeks in Europe. Um, you know,
definitely.
it will be fun. 4 days in each country.
Yeah, 100%. We'll definitely. You'll have to let us know when you come. We'll definitely
Yeah.
do.
So that will be in plan probably into summer. Into summer from now. That we have. My wife and I have been talking about that since we've been married for 10 years.
There you go. Yeah.
So it's also so it's a done deal. We will go. It's just a matter of finalizing all the stops. I'm not the planner. My wife is the one that do all the planning and everything. I'm just like
Here's the credit card. Do it.
exactly. Just drug me, take me to the airport in a wheelchair, and let me sleep for 10 hours. I don't want to be conscious to deal with all the nonsense. Just knock me out, okay? Just knock me out. Give me a couple of shot of whiskey and just knock me out. I'm done. But yeah, I will go, and if we go, for sure, we do a big hangout live.
Live hangout. That's the
Live hangout side by side in the UK.
Yeah.
No, it's my long-term goal eventually is to sell my books to younger collectors that I know for years.
Yeah.
Because I know it goes to good hands.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I better start saving it for 2 years' time.
You gotta save up for the Action 1. No.
I'll sell my family. I'll sell.
But it's I've been fortunate enough to inherit a lot of good books from collectors that sold me a lot. Like that whole story about Dave.
Yeah.
Who sold me hundreds of Neil Adams books. So it's easier for me down the road, say 10 years from now, to sell a lot of these things in chunk to someone that I know will keep them around for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I understand that once the books leave my hand, the owner can do whatever they want, right? They have the right to flip it, do whatever, but I prefer to pass it on even below market value to someone that I know will appreciate and love them for another 20 years.
Yeah.
Because that's how I got them. I got them below market value.
Yeah.
Because because they know that I will keep them for 20 years or more.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not out there to buy it from him and flip it next week for profit.
No.
So I will do the same thing 10, 15 years from now. You know, I will pass it on to somebody else because I had it for 25 years.
There you go. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just if you've got a love for it, then that's it. I'm the same. I mean, when the time comes to me as well, it's all about making sure the person you give because a lot of hard-earned money, but it's also a lot of fun and enjoyment have gone into this. So you want to make sure the next person, the next generation, gets the same kind of buzz that you did it, and that's what the hobby is all about, passing on.
Yeah, you know, like I said, you know, it would not hurt my feeling if I sell the book to somebody and then they turn around and flip it the next week. It happened before, you know. So it's just that if my preference is someday in 10 or 15 years, I would hope to be able to pass on many of these books to collectors that are 20 years younger than me. You know, they can take it over and say, okay, I will enjoy this for another 20 years. And then hopefully they will find another younger collector that will carry it on.
That's it. I mean, in the UK, I'm happy, and I think there's a lot of younger collectors. Yesterday, actually, so what I did was when I was selling my DC books, I took a lot of my own books, and he let me put them on his stand to sell as part of. So some of the guys came over and we were talking about these. They must have been about 15, 16 years old and really young in high school. Yet I probably had the best conversation with these guys who actually really, really love comics, and we're talking about the stories and the significance of the book because I sold them the Detective 395, which was the first Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams on Detective, and I sold them the drug issue for Green Lantern.
Yeah. And
we were just talking for about 10 minutes about the significance of the issues and the artwork, and that was probably the most fun I had that day. Whereas the rest of the day, I'm sure I was selling to other dealers, guys that are coming over buying bulk, and it was just transactions. They didn't want to talk; they just want to. So actually, like you said, I'm sure you get the same buzz of enjoying having a really good, solid conversation with the younger collectors, because it makes us happy as well. Otherwise, when you're selling to dealers or whoever it may be, it's just a transaction at the end of the day.
Yeah, you know, I exchange conversation, email or phone with all kind of collectors, right, on a daily basis. And I can tell you, when I talk to someone in my peer,
yeah,
it's a completely different conversation than talking to younger collectors like you and Brooke and other people, because it's a different fun. Because you know, when I talk to you guys, the younger collectors, I love to pass on knowledge that I have, whatever useful information I can pass on. I love to do it. But then when I talk to older collectors, you know, the conversation tend to be somewhat less, I would say not fun, but they are much more serious, because the older guys like me that have been through the ringer, we talk more about the problems in the hobby.
Yeah.
So it's not that we are negative, but definitely the tone is very somber compared to, like, you know, when we talk to like teenagers or people in their 20s that are so excited about the hobby, that don't know a lot about the hobby.
Yeah.
We love to pass on what we know, whatever in our brain, and that's because we feed off the excitement come from you guys.
That's it.
You know, I mean,
not pumping.
You know, I mean, not to say that I don't get excited talking about certain things with John, Dr. Von Schiller, one of the viewers that are actually older than me. But
He's,
he gets
I've only ever read his comments on your. I love reading his comments because even within his comments on your videos,
yeah. I
just
mean, when John have his channel up, hopefully sometime in the future, he will have a lot of story to tell. You know, I mean, it's. I think when you're looking at like someone like say Doctor Strange life,
Captain Strange Life. Yeah, Captain Strange Life. Yeah.
I always call him Doctor Strange, and then I screwed up the name. Like Doctor Strange life, no, Captain Strange life.
Yeah.
You know, he has just a ton of pop culture in his mind. You know, and the same thing with John. John been around the hobby just as long as Captain Strange life, and he was very active selling in the 70s and 80s. You know, as a at the con, he used to set up the con.
Wow.
And sell. He even sell in those old price guide. He ran ads in there. You know, so John has been an old timer that has been through the whole buying, collecting, hoarding, and selling.
Yeah.
You know, so he's been through all that, and I have been through that, maybe in a different way than John has, but you know, it's like I said, I have a lot of fun exchanging conversation with that kind of collectors because even though we are very similar, we certainly enjoy the hobby in a very different way. You know, and it's good to see. It's fun for me to see his view on different things because I have like John is probably the biggest Jill Kane fan you're ever gonna find.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, out of all the artists I love and showcase, I think he is a hardcore Marvel Lights.
Yeah.
Jill Kane, Bronze Age, forever. You know, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Switch topic real quickly. So, how's the job?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I'm still, like you said, I'm still always looking for opportunities, like we mentioned last time, to see how we can expand. But yeah, job's good. Job's good. I will probably be pursuing my dream in the very near future.
But you can always do both. Okay.
Yeah.
My only advice to you is, if you know what your dream is, right? As long as you can do the other job to pay the bills.
Yeah. Buy the books.
Yeah, as long as you can, don't go. As long as you do not go hungry pursuing your dream, it's okay. You know, yeah. It's for me. I can only tell people that being an entrepreneur is not for everybody. No. And it takes a different kind of personality to want to do that kind of stuff because it's extremely high risk. Not every. I wouldn't advise the average person to just quit your 9-to-5 job and go start something. It takes
transition. It's a transition. I mean, as long as you can justify. I mean, I've spoken to my family and they're kind of with me. I mean, as I mentioned to you, it's going to be a bit of a difficult phase because obviously I'm earning quite a bit of money now, and so when you give that up to start again, it's going to be quite a bit of a journey to get back to where I was. But
yeah, but with success, my advice. Well, I have an old saying to myself. There's three things that you need. Is the desire, right? You had to have the desire to do something on your own and to take the risk. Number 2 is timing, right? And then number 3 is luck. Luck has a big part in making something work. I mean, we talked about this privately before when I said, if Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs and his good friend at the time did not introduce. If Steve Jobs' friend did not introduce him to the kid that lived near his house, which is Wozniak, Apple would never happen.
It's true.
So just like Gates, if Gates did not bump into Allen, I don't think Microsoft would have happened. So it's just one of those things where hard work is one thing, has a desire is another thing. We're willing to take risks, but ultimately there's a component that you and I and any entrepreneur would admit that is luck.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you speak to any guy, it's true. And sometimes the more you try to force things through, the less likely it's to happen because sometimes it just has to click. I mean, you have to sometimes just let fate or God, whatever it may be, your religion, whatever, or whatever your beliefs are, just to let things. Sometimes it's out of our hands almost. We have an idea in our heads, but sometimes, like you said, it's just out of our hands a lot. You just got to go with it, roll with the punches. So, I mean, yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, I've got a plan in my head. If it works out, great. I mean, if it doesn't, there you go. That's just another life lesson. But I'm not going to make any hasty decisions. But
yeah, and you will have most likely many other ideas. It's rare to find an entrepreneur that have just one idea. Most likely you will have a couple. Most likely you will try a couple different things over the next few years, and hopefully one
will click. I mean, we've had, like I said, regarding the clothing and stuff, we've had some really good feedback. We've actually had quite a large online retailer approach us. I mean, we'll see, like I said, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's very early days, but
yeah, well, keep me in tap because I love to hear the progress.
No, of course.
See, if I see that you
are probably the quickest responder to an email I've ever met in my life. So it could be any time of the day. I'll always see an ETA response that quick. It's amazing, actually. So I find it's very.
The secret is I have too much free time.
Yeah, I basically emailed Nick this morning, our time, in London time this morning, saying, Nick, you're free today. Should we do a little hangout? He goes, yeah, it's fine, I'm free. So that's good. That's good. You've earned the right to do this. You've worked.
No, yeah, exactly. I am extremely blessed. Okay, I can tell you, when I was 20.
My age, I think you said 26.
26, yeah, 26. Your age. I just graduated from my MBA. Okay, I got my MBA. I was 26 years old. I remember telling myself that before I'm 50, I want to be able to be financially secure, where I no longer have to work for anyone or do anything. I want to be able to be my I can do whatever. Basically, my goal was by the time I'm 50, I wanted to be debt free.
Yeah.
I wanted to not owe money to anybody, so that I can work at my leisure.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. I don't know what that is. When I was 26, I have no idea what I will be doing in 20 years, but my goal was whatever it is. I do not want to have a boss over me. I don't want to have to worry about a paycheck on Friday. I just want to be able to work whenever I want to, and enjoy my life, because I'm lucky that I think I came from good genetics. My dad, he's going to be 81 this October.
Wow. Yeah.
My wife is also from very, very good genetics. Her mom and dad is still alive.
Good. Yeah.
They're both also same age, in the 80s.
Nice.
And so I have told her for 10 years since we've been married that, life is very short. We can live for another 30, 40 years. Let's enjoy the most out of it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be working like a dog when I'm 60s because I have bills to pay, all that stuff. It's just like, let's live a simple life and just enjoy it. I mean, I'm just lucky that I find a wife that share the same kind of mindset.
That's it.
We don't need fancy things. I like to cook at home, so we don't waste money going out to eat all the time.
I've always noticed the guys who have kind of earned the most money or whatever are the guys that are the most frugal at the same time. It's a lot of times it's the people who are aspiring to be like that tend to spend more money in order to try and keep up with that. So it's very interesting to see. But that's it. It's about a simple life. You're right. We live for a short amount of time in this world. So it's about making the most.
Yeah, I'm blessed that I work very little. Okay, I can tell you, I spend more of my days emailing friends and just chatting.
I'm worried about my work day tomorrow. I've got about 15 things in my head I've got to do tomorrow for work, and I'm like, oh my.
Yeah, and I still work with my business, my consulting business that I got, and I can tell you, I work, probably on the average maybe 10 hours a week,
Wow.
which isn't a lot, and with my business, which I started back in 2000,
Yeah.
I get paid by the hour. Okay, so it's all about, if I want to make a lot of money, I work a lot of hours.
Yeah.
There's no magic to it, because and when I was, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I would work 80 hours a week.
Well, there you go. That's it. That's the thing. Yeah.
And I make, a fist load of money, but now, I'm down to working 10 hours a week, and do I want to work more? Not really. It's that's why, I mean, it's funny because, there's a lot of comic books that I would love to have, but I am no longer willing to work to make the money to buy them.
Not a bad problem to have. When you open your UK office, let me know.
Yeah, so it's always one of those things. The sad thing about my business,
it's very specific, I know, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I can't pass my brain on to anybody.
We could try. Yeah, it won't work.
There is absolutely nothing I can do. I tried the last 5 years. I had tried to figure out how to pass it on.
Yeah.
But all of my clients are like, Nick, we hire you because of you.
It's true.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the next guy. The thing is, I store so much in this brain that it's so these days, like I said, I work 10 hours a week. I've been doing it for the last 2 or 3 years. The last 3 years I have since I turned 45. I significantly slowed down to working 10 hours a week, but that coincides with my.
How's that even happen? So basically, when my phone rings, and so it rings on my Mac as well. Oops.
So everything came to the point about 3 years ago when I decided to sell a lot of my books.
Yeah.
And so I make a decision more like 5 years ago, but it took shape mostly 3 or 4 years ago, where I said, okay, I'm tired of having so many books around. I want to start selling a whole bunch of them, and only use that money.
My phone. 1 second, mate. Sorry, mate.
No problem. It's your love life.
No, I wish it was. It's not that exciting. Sorry. God. Yeah, carry on, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, no. So over the past 3 or 4 years, actually, I make a rule where I only buy books from the money that I sell books.
Yeah, okay, which is fair enough.
Because I had so many books laying around, I'm just like, that's it. No more accumulating. I'm like, I just tired of having so many books, so I'm just like, okay, going forward, if you want to buy something, sell something. So that had been my mode now for about 3 years. And as I run out of things to sell, I buy less.
Yeah, you can't justify now. You can't even justify. Well, fair enough.
Yeah,
well, sure. If there's a deal, if there's the right deal, I'm sure you can find a way in your heart to do
absolutely. But the big thing was actually I just shot a video last week of my big goal that I want to pay off the house.
Yeah.
And that was a big part of selling all those XMen slabs.
Oh, yeah, you sent an email, didn't you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm just like, debt-free, done, goal in life achieved.
And 2 years ahead of schedule.
Yeah, 2 years ahead of schedule. I told my wife, we're going to have a big celebration at the end of this month because, no more mortgage payment due, nothing. I told her it would be wonderful to be able to go through life very simple. It was simple before, but it can be even more simple going forward.
It's gonna hippie style.
But no, it's relaxing. I can tell you that. I was I was a workaholic, work 80 hours a week and very career goal driven. And not to say that I'm done, okay? We had this conversation before.
So,
My goal is to take the next couple years off to enjoy life. And then as Anthony get older, I'm hoping, say 4 or 5 years from now, or even 10 years from now, to kickstart again my entrepreneur desire, because I would love to be able to do something with Anthony when he's old enough to help me.
Yeah, of course.
Because I want him to see what it's like. I don't know if he had the entrepreneur blood in him.
He might do. I mean, having a father like, I'm sure all he's known, I guess, is seeing you kind of running your own business from a young age.
Yeah, and I got it from my dad. My dad was the same way. I have 5 brothers and sisters.
Wow. Okay.
And I am the closest to my dad as far as look and behaviors and everything. And I think it kind of takes off my other siblings because I'm always favored. Because my siblings are very typical Asian students through school.
Yeah.
Straight A's, all that stuff. I can tell you, my older brother, older sister got full scholarship to Ivy League school. They are brainiacs, okay? Trust me, when it comes down to brain power, like my older brother, he's only 2 years older than me. He went to Yale.
Wow.
Full ride.
Wow.
No full scholarship, and he graduated with a PhD in chemistry when he was 23 years old.
Holy jeez.
So my sister is also. Trust me, none of my older brother or sister had to pay for college. Okay.
You're like another level of.
And then you have me. Okay, I went to one of the worst college in New York. I got 0 scholarship.
In that way, you're very much like me, Nick. My sister is very smart, and I'm the opposite. I've just been an entrepreneur my whole life.
And even when I was in high school, right, and my siblings would get on my case, oh, your grades are not good enough. What are you doing? This and that. You're never gonna get into a good college. You're never gonna do this. And I heard it all from everyone, right?
Yeah.
And my reply is, the diploma is just a piece of paper. It's what it is. Yeah. I told them there's a big difference between book smart and street smart.
Yes.
And I would rather be street smart.
Yeah, I've got a PhD in street smarts.
Exactly. So I think my dad recognized that in me years ago, that I have that look in my eyes that, I'm gonna try. I will take risks in many things, and I think in many ways, when I quit my job and go sleep on his couch,
yeah,
he was like, "You go get him, son." He was not one bit disappointed that I am throwing away my life.
It's quite scary because you and I are on a very similar trajectory in terms of what I've been talking to you about. You are earning obviously a lot of money in the financial industry, yet that wasn't making you happy. And the same way, I could earn a lot of money what I'm doing now, but it's not making me happy. So sometimes you've got to step back while you're young, and I think it's crazy. But you're right, and my father's very much the same as you in the sense that he's not disappointed, nor is he worried. He's more supportive, and he believes that we can do it. And obviously, your example is you've achieved it. You said you were going to do it, and you've achieved it. Therefore,
so I remember in 2000 sleeping on my parents' couch and working on my business, right? And my sibling, one of my sister was so annoyed with me sleeping on the couch for like 3 months. She was like, your resume, you're not even updating your resume. Your resume is gonna expire. And I look at her like, expire resume? Mission impossible? Don't worry, don't worry about me. I'm mooching off. Don't worry about me, okay? That is okay with me sleeping here, and I will be just fine. And luck has it, the right timing, the right thing clicked, and boom, and when it hits, I knew it's gonna be like crazy busy, and I worked my butt off. And like I said, I joke with my families and friends all the time. I hit the lottery the old-fashioned way. I earn it.
True. It's true.
I didn't win a $2 million lottery. I made the money by working 80 hours a week for 10 years.
It's quite right
that's
that
okay.
you're.
It like I said, it all worked out, and like I said, privately to you before, if you ever need my help in anything,
No,
I'll be more than happy.
I'm trying to rack my brain still to figure, but a lot of times something will just come to you and it will click. The more I try to force something to come through, the less likely it's going to happen. So I'm sure we'll think of something. The more and more we talk, something will come up, I'm sure.
Yeah, like I said, that's why I used to have a book. I wish I still have it. I used to have a book with all my ideas in it.
Yeah.
As crazy or as stupid as they can be, I wrote them down. And I lost that book many years ago when I moved. But that's why whenever I meet someone like you, I have no problem sharing many of those ideas.
Yeah. No.
Because my belief is, unless the ideas get out there to the right hands, it's not going to happen. So whenever I meet younger people that have any kind of desire to do something, I throw those ideas out there, and if they can make it happen, good for them. Not a big deal that I'm not doing it, but that's the way it is, And the same thing with you, Like I said, if you have ideas, keep them in your head, keep them written down in somewhere, because you never know when you're gonna run into the right person that will make it happen.
True.
True. You just have to keep on meeting people. The bottom line is, that's one thing that you probably is better than me. I'm definitely not I'm not a shy guy, but I'm also not a very friendly guy.
Oh, you seem very friendly to me.
But my wife would agree that like when I meet someone, I can be very friendly or charming or whatever it is, but it takes a bit of effort for me to make that leap.
Yeah.
So I'm not easy to I don't make friends that easy, or I don't talk to strangers that easy. Like when I go to a party, I kind of like, this is brutal, But I think that's one of the things that hurt me over the many years, is that because I was never I shy away from many social events, the kind of events where a lot of important people shows up.
Yeah.
That you can make the right connection, and that's where even when I was in the financial in the financial thing, and it's all kind of fancy black ties party, right?
Yeah.
You can meet a lot of venture capitalists.
Yeah. Pitch your ideas to, exactly.
I'm just like, not doing that. Don't like these people. I can't kiss ass with these people. I can't do it, but that's a young me, Back then I'm just like, I don't need the money. I don't need to be their friends. I don't need their contacts. I'm gonna make this on my own, And
you still did it. I mean, it just goes to show you that determination, hard work. I know sometimes it might have sped things up but then at the end of the day, you've arrived. So I mean,
yeah, like I said, like I said, I agree. Like I said, I have very, very or no regrets really of how the path that that I went in. And like I said, it's been a fun ride, And I was talking to Brooke about my story.
Yeah.
And I probably would start put together a series of video. I've been thinking about it where I would name the series of video Nothing About Comic Books.
Yeah.
And it will kind of outline my journey through life. Actually, I thought about doing it a long time ago. It's more like a personal diary for Anthony to watch later.
Yeah.
But when I do that, I will probably, announce to people, and I probably won't make it public. You know, like how on YouTube you can make something public, something not.
Or to your friends, yeah, you can make it to a private.
So what I would do is I will start making those videos sometime in this year sometime, and those that want to hear me talk about my startup ideas, life history, family, all that stuff will, I will put everyone into like a list, and then whenever I make a video and load them, they can watch it, and it's not a public thing, because my ultimate goal for those videos will be more for Anthony 20 years from now, because I live a fun life, I think it's definitely something that I want to say for Anthony to hear later, For me right now, he's too young right now to appreciate every little thing that happened to Daddy.
Of course. At 7 years old, I mean, I don't know what I was doing at 7, but certainly not that. So I think the beauty of technology is that it's like a little time machine, isn't it? A time capsule.
Exactly. It's a time capture, and for sure. Well, I just look at the clock. Is it like really, really late for you?
It's all right. Yeah. I thought it was 5 hours difference. It's 4 hours, but it's all right. Yeah.
Well, are you gonna do a video to show all your hauls at the con?
Yeah, I will. I mean, I'll probably put it up. Yeah, I'll probably film it and put it up later in the week. Probably, but I think every Saturday is when I'm gonna start posting videos. So next, I'll put it up on Saturday. I need to read back because I'm waiting for more bags and boards and all that stuff to arrive.
Oh man, it's
so expensive. Do you know how much a pack of 50 e-Gerber fullbacks are here? £23.
Holy moly! I'm telling you, I feel the pains of all of you. Oh. We are spoiled. U.S. collectors are so spoiled with the easy, cheap cost of shipping.
Oh, it's just soul paying.
See, more reason why you should focus your collection to what you really want.
Exactly. I was waiting. Do you know when I took my books to sell the DC, I was like, "You're not getting my mind." So I literally unbagged all the books I was selling and put them in regular bags and brought back loads of empty Mylars.
That's the way. I'm such a cheap guy that often surprisingly sometimes some eBay seller would send me a cheap. A while ago, I bought 4 books on eBay, and they all like $10 each, which is cheap, Silver Age stuff.
Yeah.
And the seller sent me Mylar and hardbacks.
Wow.
I'm like, guess what? These 4 silver go into cheap bags and cheap boards, and I will use the Mylar and full bag on my other 4 keepers that are needing these things.
My problem is now I've started using Mylar for everything. It could be issue 320, and I still put it in my. It's silly. I need to stop, but I just think, you know what?
Well, I did not back and board most of my books. I can tell you, when I was in college and near the end of my collecting like new books off the rack, I was triple bagging everything. That's how cheap I was. I put 3 books
in one bag,
and then done. Because I don't know why, but it's weird. I have to say I use the word comic god often.
Yeah.
Is that sure, I take care of my book very nicely, like carefully, right? But at the same time, I was never the kind of person that buy fancy bags and board or chamber paper and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And many of my books that I bought 30, 40 years ago are still white. You know what I mean? And they like very little dent and creases, all that stuff. I was so careful with them, and it's just funny how I'm so cheap.
And lucky.
Storing them. Like I did not even have long boxes when I was leaving for college. I remember, I would just take a regular like box and just like put the books like all over the place. I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, I kept many books in my dresser drawers. I mean, the idea of buying box bags and board was like, whew.
Well,
I'm like,
you look at the Edgar collection, the Edgar Pedigree collection. They were in a dingy basement, no bags, no boards, stacked up in a closet for what,
yeah.
20, 30, 40 years, and they were pristine when Chuck Rosansky found them. So it goes to show you. I think it's just clever marketing.
Well, for sure. I mean, I made a video a while ago that I did not make public that, micro chamber paper is not harmful. Well, micro chamber paper has a benefit, but I believe the benefit is a lot less than the people that are selling those things claim to be. So like how like the micro chamber paper is supposed to absorb the acid from the paper, right?
Yeah.
My contention, which I one day will prove, is that it only helps the two pieces of paper right next to the micro chamber paper.
Yeah, it's not going to absorb the entire book. So
exactly. So I'm just like, if you want to benefit the whole book, you better put in 20 pieces.
That's it. It's true. That's
so the whole idea of using like the one in the front, one in the back, and somehow that would absorb all the acid, all that stuff from the other 20 pages. I'm just like, that's malarkey. Okay, that's not even science. Okay, that's just nonsense. It's just.
I agree. I agree. That's why I don't bother. The main reason I use fallback is to keep it strong in the box. So if the books move around within the box, they're not going to get to. And the Mylar makes the books look pretty. To be fair, the Mylar makes the books, the artwork pop out. So.
No, the no doubt the book itself give off fume and acid and all that stuff. That's what caused the regular bag to yellow and wrinkle, right?
Yeah.
So no doubt there are not good stuff in there, but at the same time, I have used this example a million times. I have books that have turned many bags yellow over the past 30 or 40 years, but they're still white in the inside.
Yeah.
So it's not about, I mean, the worst thing for books is humidity, heat. Okay, those are the two worst components. And one of the things that hurt Silver Age and Golden Age books, even early Browns, is that up until the 90s, AC, air conditioning, was not widespread.
Yeah.
So people kept books in 90 degrees weather, in the attic, whatever. And those things age the books more than anything.
Yeah, especially Florida as well. Yeah.
But these days, like my house is regular temperature in the 70s.
Yeah.
The book's not gonna age. It will outlive us many times over. So I'm not that concerned about it. Sure, if you use micro chamber paper, no doubt there will be benefit to the covers.
Yeah, it's the covers, exactly.
So I'll be the first to say there are benefit. It will stop the bleed through and all that aging of the covers. But if you think that it's gonna benefit the other 18 page in the middle, you're living in la la land. Ain't gonna happen. It does nothing, in my opinion. But one of these days, I got to come up with some kind of scientific example to study that, because I don't think it's all that beneficial for the rest of the book. But it doesn't hurt the cover. So if you want to keep the cover nice and fresh.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I look at the clock. I think you should go, my friend.
Yeah, no worries. As always.
Well, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, and definitely we try and do this every 2 or 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
You know me. My schedule is always open.
Yeah, more than likely I'll drop you an email on the morning of, just say that.
Yeah, shoot me an email. All I need is an hour notice.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, Nick, pleasure as always. Thank you again. Thank you again for hosting and saving my bacon because I thought I did it correctly, but I must have not. So
Well,
thank
next
you.
time, try it again. Like I said, if you can't,
Yeah.
we'll do the same thing like this time. Like you go ahead and try to initiate it. I will have a backup running, and if for whatever reason you couldn't get it to launch right, then I will send you the invite for the backup.
Sounds.
All right. Well, thank you for the chat, my friend, and I look forward to someday meeting you and Brooke in person.
For sure. I'm sure it'll be
sure.
your shores as well as ours. So.
All right, man. Have a good night, and I can't wait to see the hall at the con.
Yeah.
I want to see what you pick up. I bet it can be Marvel books, right?
Yeah. They're all Marvels. They're all Marvels. All Marvels.
All right. Okay. Good night.
Night. Bye.